What's going on here, everyone? I hope this week has been going well for you right now. Man, look, the weather is just changing all around out here. So, wardrobe got to change with it. You'll see some different styles over here. I like to stay cozy when I'm inside. No matter what the temperature is outside, I keep it cozy on the inside. But, you know, so jacket sometimes, crew neck sometimes, a hoodie on sometimes, whatever. Switch up the styles. I hope everyone's doing well out there and they're enjoying themselves, man. I've been having a really good time just doing this series overall. Definitely just enjoy the different type of expression and sharing ideas in a different way using this medium here. So if you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, maybe just share with somebody. That's it. If you don't, all right, watch something else. I ain't holding you. But again, we're gonna keep having fun over here. But on that same note, man, with this summertime, man, it's always an interesting time for me because summertime, though, it's a lot of energy, a lot of fun, a lot of activities that's going on out here. The summertime also is a lot of remembrance for me. Not in the negative way necessarily, but it definitely is a sense of remembrance for me because this is a time when I lost my parents. My father passed away 14 years ago in 2011. It will be, a good 8 years or so that my mom passed away in July 2017 here when she passed away. And, it's just been a journey, man. So every single time the summer comes around, though it's not negative, but it's just a good sense of memory and just what the time, before they passed and after they passed and everything like that. And it definitely begins to get me thinking that question that you hear a lot, which is, does it get better with time? The grieving process, does it get better with time? And, that's something that is quite a loaded question. And I'm definitely going to answer it to my own experiences that I know. And for people who have been through it themselves or are currently going through it, just know that it's just unique to every single person what that all means. I think the first thing I think about when I hear that, does it get better with time question or whatever, is that what have you been doing with that time? I think that's the first thing I start with there for myself. It's just like, for me, with that time throughout my parents passing, it's been a sense of using my voice to express my creativity. That helped me out through that process. Creating Candle Knowledge was a reflection of was a result, a trigger of my mom passing and realizing that when my mom passed, and obviously my father had passed already, that I no longer had parents anymore, right? My parents were no longer with me anymore. Obviously, that part of the journey was done. So as I moved forward in my life, right, before I had turned 30, I lost both my parents. So before I moved forward in my life, entering my 30s and et cetera, my parents weren't going to be with me on my journey and all the different milestones that came along with that. So, what was I going to do with that time and how I was going to, just maybe honor them. So that was me creating this podcast. So that was one reflection right there. Of what I was doing with that time. Also, what I was doing with that time was just growing and evolving, understanding myself a lot more as an individual. Granted, everyone, you all have to grow and evolve and figure life out, figure yourself out. But doing it knowing that you won't have your parents to maybe like kind of like, chop it up with you on certain milestones or whatever. That's a little different, knowing that, it's not because you have a strained relationship with them or, you're kind of distant from them once you moved out the house or whatever. No, it's because they're not here anymore. So there's just, even if you want to, have a moment to chop it up with them, you can't. That moment is done, and just having to navigate through that. So that was a big part of it. And I would call that part of the grieving stage just the void, because that part can bring a lot of sadness, a lot of melancholy, a lot of just different emotions, and a lot of different negative energies to folks, and make moments like the summertime a triggering moment of negativity, of negative thoughts and feelings. But I think the biggest thing with that time was also understanding myself and understanding myself with the void, and how can I understand that more, and just maybe one, embrace the void of it being a part of my journey and being part of my life, and understanding that that is going to be with me, like almost like an illness to some degree, but it's something, or some type of, disease or condition that some people can have, whatever. But it can be something that either you let it cripple you when these moments, like, your parents pass away and the anniversaries of them pass away over the summer come up, or it can be something that just uplifts you and empowers you. So that's kind of what I was going through, and understanding that with my time that I had to kind of grieve and process and understand different things. And I think that, between having the dreams of my mom and dreams of my family, and just have the memories and just the way I've been speaking about them through this series and other things that I have maybe off video conversations that I have about my parents with my brother and stuff like that. That's been the most healthiest thing that I've been able to do to kind of start that healing process or continue that healing process as time has gone on. I think that there's never a moment that I forget who they are and what they meant to me. But I think that it's something that as time goes on, you get more and more, for me at least, for me, you definitely you definitely understand that, the time that you have with them was special and that was a great moment, but you can still prosper and still reach new heights, and that the new heights that you reach will not be Xing them out of your memory, but it will just be adding to the legacy that they've left and created for you. That foundation that they created for you. Now you've leveled up that foundation. You built this metaphorical building of life for yourself, and now you just continue to rise for yourself. And who knows what else you do. That's how it's been for my journey, for me personally, throughout this entire experience, for me, just knowing that with every step that I take, that's what the time represents. And that's where I stay empowered and motivated to kind of keep going forward with my life and not be bogged down by those negative memories or negative moments when maybe anniversaries and stuff like that come up. Just know that no, this is just a reflection of how far you've come, as well as honoring and remembrance of them as well. But also too, with all this time, I think one thing that the grieving process with more time has taught me as I matured and leveled up even more throughout my life is that, the words that we use, how we speak to people, how we talk to people. When I'm really connecting with somebody, especially whether it be a friendship, on an intimate level, I take my words serious, man. I don't play around with people. I don't, play games with people. It's like, no, my real people that are really close to me, my inner circle, people that I want to maybe build something with, I take those words serious, man. I don't joke around with that. I don't, like to use words or have maybe, surface level conversations. That's the best way I can sum it up. Like surface level conversations, small talk like that. I don't do that as much, but I definitely do more deep dive conversations that almost feel like mini documentaries or interviews, not interrogating somebody, but just they're in depth. They're very serious and thought provoking and just honest and pure, sincere. That's the type of quality of conversations that I've been having a lot more since I've, you know, been going through the grieving process and just time has elapsed since my parents passed away, et cetera. I don't play around with my words, man, because I think about just, my parents and how they had their differences and arguments and stuff like that. And, and sometimes I wish, if anything, if they can come back, it will be that they can have more time together for themselves versus have more time with me, just so they can have that time to express those words to each other of love and care. Not saying that it wasn't there, but just to maybe have less of the arguments and more of that would be important. And I think that's something I take away as well, just now here on this earth still with everyone. I don't try to find the negative way or find the way to kind of continue on the beef or the arguments with somebody. If I do have a disagreement with somebody, especially if somebody is close to me, especially if somebody that I know that I care for and I want in my life and I desire in my life, all those different things, for real. I'm not afraid to be very straight and forward and clear about that. Life is short, man. We don't know what's going to happen next. So let me make sure that I make every single word that I speak clear to the people that matter to me most, that I champion for in my life, that I desire in my life, that I know that are in my inner circle, all those different things, man. Yeah, I make that very clear and sincere, and I don't play around with that. I like to keep that at the top in the forefront of my communication when it comes to people, and just be as clear as possible. And I think the best thing is that throughout this process is that, you don't get over it as more time comes. For me, it's just, that's been something that I just have gotten over it. But as I said, I just understand how to manage it, and I understand what it is. And when I need those moments to reflect for myself, I think for me personally, it's like always using music outside of my creativity, using music as that way to kind of tap into that emotion and just to explore it, and then to understand it and to understand how to manage it. So when those negative thoughts come in or whatever it may be, or sometimes that pity party stuff or whatever, that quickly erases itself because I know what it is and I just know how to navigate it and know how to understand it and work with it. The void is a powerful thing, man. It comes on and it will never really be let go. Every single milestone that I'll have, whether it'll be a career milestone, a family milestone, a personal development milestone, it can be paying off a bill type of milestone. Like, man, I got this bill paid off that I never thought I'd pay off or whatever. And you just have these different moments and you want to celebrate, then you might get triggered because some of the people you want to celebrate with aren't with you on this journey. But I do remind myself that, you manage it by understanding that, man, your success and how you're championing these moments for yourself and how you're excited for yourself is exactly what they would have wanted as well. They don't want you being sad and holding your head down and crying and grieving over them in the sense of slowing your life down, becoming not the best version of yourself, not focusing on how to level up yourself and improve yourself. No, they want me to continue to just be the best version of myself, to continue to level up and continue to grow and develop for myself. So that's just something that I really do hold on to deeply, and I just keep in my mind, man. Um, it's definitely, it takes time to understand how to manage it. For me, I think the creative expression has been the best way for me to manage this process of grieving, and just not let it overtake me or consume me with negativity or anything like that. I think that was the best thing I could say, is just the art, the creativity, my voice, and all the different things and experiences I've had with my parents. So when I have these memories, I just know how to maybe bask in the sense of the glory of it instead of maybe baking the negativity of it and let it just consume me whole and swallow me whole and just take me a different course. Because no, that's just not the direction I want to go. So the void is something that will never change. The grief will never stop. It will be there. It will always be part of the process, part of the healing process. The memories that you have and the triggers that will come along with them, both happy, sad, or in between, right, will always happen. But as long as my determination for myself is there, that the process of healing will always be, you'll always be able to reach that process of healing no matter what you go through, because there's a sense of understanding of what it is, how to manage it, and then how to also express it. For someone else, and for everyone else that may have experienced this, you will find your own answers to this process. And for people who have not experienced this in the sense of loss, when you do encounter those moments, it's up to you where you want to go with it. It can be the end of you, it can be the beginning of you, or it can be the start of just another era in your life of celebration, of moving yourself forward and growing in a way that would make the people that you did lose very proud, amazed, shocked in a positive way. That, man, this person, this individual is exactly who I thought that they were, what they were capable of. And matter of fact, they've gone further than I've ever imagined. And they will rest peacefully where they're at. So again, does it get better with time? Yeah, it does.